Conor McGregor reveals what's to come. Michael Chandler teases when the fight will go down. Josh and John react to Mike Perry vs Darren Till in boxing, and Bisping is concerned about Fury vs Ngannou. All in today's video. Conor McGregor breaks the news that he has submitted his stuff to USADA and then releases some sparring footage as a hint of what's to come.
30 seconds.
And his next opponent, Michael Chandler, says the fight might take place at UFC 300.
The fight is not booked for a date. The fight is not booked for a venue. The fight is booked between Chandler and Conor. There's no way that Conor comes back and doesn't fight me. If Conor doesn't fight me, he's probably just not coming back, and that's out of my control. So he's coming back, he's fighting me. At this point, obviously by deductive reasoning, by process of elimination, there's now a main event in December. There's a main event in November. We're not going to not be a main event. So that pushes us into 2024. I'm ready to fight in January, February, March, April, May, whenever. So we'll see. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense that there's a very historic card coming up with the UFC. I haven't been told that's when it's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is when it is. And if it is, I got more and more time to prepare. I've never had this much time to prepare for one certain guy, one certain opponent. So me and my team training here in Nashville, and also when I go down to Florida, we're going to put together a game plan, knock this dude out in the first round or two.
And Michael Bisping reacts to Tyson Fury mocking Ngannou before their fight by already booking his next fight with Usyk for late December or early January. He is mocking him. He does not take him seriously. He does not respect the threat of Francis Ngannou one little bit. Why do I say that? It's pretty simple. He's already booked his next fight against Alexander Usyk, who is the next best heavyweight on planet Earth. He's taking the piss. He doesn't give him any credit whatsoever. Well, listen, Ngannou's not a boxer. He's a mixed martial artist. We know that. He's not as tall. He's not as fast, he's not as skilled, but the man can bang and he can knock people out. And I'm telling you, is Tyson Fury making a massive mistake here? Because in the fight game, they always say, never look past your opponent, never underestimate your opponent, always expect the best version of them. If Francis Ngannou is going to win this fight, he's going to do it in the first 2 or 3 rounds. He's got to get a hold of Tyson Fury, push him into the corner, and then just swing like an absolute maniac, because if he tries to pick his shots, number one, he's not fast enough, he's not skilled enough, and he just won't land. He will be hitting fresh air all day. If he throws him in the corner, uses his power, uses his strength, uses the wrestling while he can before the ref breaks it up, and just swings like a maniac, you never know. Outside of that, it's all done. Simple as that. The biggest upset in the history of boxing was Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet who just happens to be training Francis Ngannou, taking on Buster Douglas. Nobody gave Buster Douglas a chance, but what happened? He knocked him out. If that doesn't tell you that anything can happen in the squared circle, I don't know what does. And Brendan Schaub also thinks this helps Francis Ngannou.
That is the best talking I've ever seen. And he didn't have to do it. He just called up his guy and went, hey, just announced Usyk. When do you want to fight him? What do we win? Do it in December. I'm a little worried if I'm France. I'm like, oh man, he really thinks it's going to be that easy, huh? Yeah, they do. They're not taking this serious at all. He's using you as basically live sparring before he fights Usyk. That's how much respect he has. On the other side of that, if I'm Francis, all right, okay, this is good. He's not taking this serious. And when you hit as hard as Francis does, I don't care who you are. There's no man walking this planet who can take a flush right or left hook from Francis Ngannou and wake up. It's not going to happen. He has that freaking African nuke in the back of his pocket. Tyson has to just maybe glance at the clock in 1 millisecond, and that right hand comes through, left hand comes through, and this thing's over. It's the biggest upset in combat sports history.
And the potential Mike Perry vs Darren Till boxing match was hyped up even more in their recent appearance on the Overdogs podcast.
I'm hitting the hardest I've ever been hitting. If I hit you, I won't knock you out. I'll savagely fucking put you in a coma.
Do you buy the shit you're selling? You talking big game, but you ain't been doing shit. I've been winning.
So on the Weighing podcast, Josh and John react to the potential fight and talk about the matchup that's been a long time coming.
Darren Till was in the car. Mike Perry was in studio. And man, they had me cracking up. Darren Till was as honest as he could be throughout the interview, saying, hey, I love it. I want to fight you. He goes, I think you're tailor-made for bare knuckle boxing. We're not doing bare knuckle boxing. It's like, smart move. And he's right. I think Mike Perry he's that guy in bare knuckle that, man, he's going to be hard to get rid of if he doesn't do anything stupid on the outside. He's got the grit, the balls to be a monster in that sport. Darren Till is in that position. He's been looking at boxing. He loves the stand-up game. He's been very good at it. Sometimes with Mike Perry, you just got to look and say, yeah, he can be beat. Boy, it's going to take a hell of an ass whooping to do it, though.
This is perfect for him. Because remember the Dorito chip shit? That promotion that was around for a second?
Triller.
But he was perfect for that because it was boxing with MMA gloves. I thought it was amazing. Now, I think if they did do this boxing match, I think you'd have to make some sort of stipulation that it'll be like with MMA gloves. It'd be more beneficial for both guys. It'd be more entertaining for us as fans.
No. It may be more entertaining for us as fans, but it would not be more beneficial for both guys.
But look, Darren Till's got a nice smile, so I get it. I understand. Mike Perry don't give two shits about his smile.
I do think that, though, he is exactly where he belongs. And he's not going to make the money in MMA that he's making right now in bare knuckle boxing. Man, stick with that. Stick with it. It is made for you, and you are made for it. You had a great time with the UFC. Sayonara. You're going to be an average fighter there.
Yeah.
Here, you're a star.
Yeah, this is true.
You've got to look and say, man, I know my lane. You got to be a dog, man. You want to do bare knuckle?
Yeah.
You may not be the greatest technical fighter in the world, but if you got the dog in you, you can do a lot in that sport.
I would like to see them fight with MMA gloves. Maybe you get a little bit more poofier ones, whatever it is, like they did with the Dorito chip thing. But I mean, I have no interest in watching two MMA guys fight with boxing gloves on where they can be so defensive and cover everything up. No, I want to see things come through. That's why what ONE FC is doing, we talked about this on the last show. Yeah, what ONE FC is doing with Muay Thai, with MMA gloves. They even had a boxing match on that last card. There's more frequent shots that land. People get rocked more. It gets through the threads. It threads through between the guard. It comes around the guard. It just makes the fight a lot better of a fight for the viewers, not for the fighters. But these are two guys that understand what it's like to fight with MMA gloves on already. So why would I want to watch them fight with boxing gloves on? Let me see you guys box, but with MMA gloves.
And Islam Makhachev wants Covington to beat Edwards so he can fight him to become champ. I hope Covington wins because I don't know what Leon says about fighting me. I've never heard Leon say he wants this fight, but Colby wants it. That's what I want, Colby to win, and we can meet one day. It would be a very good fight. He has good wrestling. It's going to be the US wrestling versus Dagestan wrestling. He's a good fighter. He has good wrestling and good conditioning. But in my opinion, I stop his wrestling and land many good punches. I don't know what the UFC has planned, but my dream fight is for the second belt. Of course, I am under contract, so whatever the UFC says, I will fight, no problem. But Edwards vs Colby, I really believe I can beat the winner. I look at their skills and what they have as champion, and I know my skills. It's going to be a good fight. I'm not saying I'm going to beat them easy. It's going to be a hard, tough fight against a big guy. But I believe I can finish those guys. I gave a chance to that guy, so they have to give me a chance too. I gave a chance to a guy from another division to come to my weight and try to take this belt, and he lost. I want my chance too. Regardless of that, he's got to get through Charles Oliveira first, but providing he does, his next title defense is likely to be Justin Gaethje, after his epic knockout against Dustin. Islam's manager told the Schmo this. If Islam wins, he will fight Justin Gaethje next. This is what we want. This is what the UFC wants. Justin Gaethje earned it too. You don't go out there and knock out Dustin Poirier like that and don't get a title shot. I think Justin made a statement and he earned his spot.
So I'ma let my chest poke out just a little. I'm headed to the top, can't stop in the middle. We are on the rise, so keep watching the sky.